Yeah, good morning. Maybe I should switch to CPP because for some reason I'm using HPP. Normally I use CXX and H, but the CXX and the HPP together, and that really looks really weird. It's so unclear which file to pick here. This one? I'll try that one. Status. Deleted. Great. Really? That went wrong. Git. I'm not sure if you can do more than one argument, like with a normal move. Let's see. Sort ... destination. I guess it should work. Yeah. Thank you. I forgot your name. Again. Sorry. Well, not again, but I forgot your name. Yeah, I was afraid that maybe it would just take the first two arguments and then ignore the rest and therefore rename one file on top of another file. but I guess this should work. Dima, I'll try to remember that. I've always been bad at names, so. Could write a script as well. But yeah, I like doing this. It's relaxing. Okay, I think I'm done. Git. No, ls. Yep. Oh. Subdirectory. Oh. What the hell? Okay, I'm an idiot. I know I'm an idiot, but what is it? Add a subdirectory. Thank you. Okay. Add subdirectory. Dot. Seems that it should be enough for this makefile. Then we have, well, substitute cxx cpp. Looks kind of silly as well. I'll put them in alphabetic order or something. A4. Now let's see. Did I break something? I just moved all the files. Definitely did break something. I have to call these dot. No, that wasn't too bad. Hello world doesn't work. Oh, it does work. Oh, of course, it's still in source. Great. Let's commit this because all those renames. Good. Now I I also want to move everything into a namespace. Dot to. Well, it's also a lot of work, I'm afraid. Let's start with the header files. So I have this, and I want to turn it into dots, so I don't see any reason to do it separately, right? So I can just do percentage. Hell, it's even easier. Wait a minute. I can automate this. Let's automate it. So grab cpp graph with everything. Well, at least these. All of them are namespaces. So I can do sed, execute, substitute, namespace graph is with namespace graph is dot 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 3 dots. That should work. I'm tempted to do this, but this is probably nonsense. Plus, we can already see it's not doing anything. And then I'm doing I, as in place, and then just all the files. Okay, diff, and now all my namespaces have been changed. Yay. I think that it more or less still should compile, except of course that this doesn't compile anymore. I guess here I should do substitute graph is dot dot with dot dot dot. Not going to use 2 namespaces. Using namespace dot equals gpp graph viz dot. I hope that works. No, it doesn't. I'm not doing this often, I have to admit. I just always type in my namespaces in full. I don't even know how to do this. Well, this would work, of course, if we just did this, I think, but yeah, that's not what I want. I want to introduce a new dot. A namespace alias, I don't know, man. Sorry, but I just don't know. So we go here, now we ask it. How can I alias TPP graph vis dot s dot, and then a bit context, the namespace dot s dot in a C++ program. Probably no using. Just the using is gone. So yeah, I was close. No using. And then everything compiled again. Git diff. Right. Well, that's all actually. Now I can create new stuff here. I think dot is more or less finished. So let me think what I wanted to do. I want to create an object that represents all containers of a certain index type. I need a name for it. I don't know if I'm happy with this. It's a collection of one or more containers that all use the same index type. How shall I call that? Nobody in. I'll just ask ChatGPT then. Yeah, a set is not a bad name here. Index container set. Yep. It's a bit long, but it never stopped me before. Okay, Brooks, you had something else to do. I don't see your messages. Well, I do, but yeah, I looked at the target conditionals, but yeah, you don't need that. At most, as an example of what to check. I mean, that what that does is check macros and then define other macros. Well, you just check the macros directly. Yeah, it is difficult. In theory, you would say maybe I need to make this again a concept. I only allow utils vector and deque and array. But on the other hand, if I make it more general, why not? So we just basically accept any type. I want to make it pretty general, maybe not too much geared towards my utils submodule. Now definitely want to have a default constructor again. Yeah. We need to set a name at some point. And in my case, the name is going to be, well, just the index name. It's kind of a label, I guess. No, I'm just storing the label. Not very sure though. I could either derive this from a dot thing, or maybe I shouldn't. Maybe we should store the dot stuff as a private member instead of deriving from it. This is also fuzzy, you know. You can do it either way. I'm never sure what is best. In this case, I tend to. Yeah, especially because it's a special kind of graph, right? It's a cluster graph containing, etc. So if we just derive it from a graph, then it's hardly this anymore. It is just a graph. You can do whatever you want with it. So if I make the graph member, then I can restrict what you can do with it with the member functions. Well, this is then state. And the member functions operate on the state of the class, and so you can restrict it to in a way that you can only use that graph then in the way that it is intended, namely like that. I think this is probably better. And then I should call it because this is now a subgraph. I guess I could call it a subgraph, but it's like a rectangle around node graphs. No, how did I call those? Table nodes. Names. How shall I call this thing? I have no clue. I'm just gonna call it subgraph. So then I should not have a label here, I think. I think my label is actually the label of the graph, of the subgraph. So then this should set a label on the subgraph. And I forgot how I did that. Set label. It has it already. I guess I'll just call this add attribute. Yeah, that's the way I'd had to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I guess we can show that already then. It's just an empty thing now, but maybe I should start this one over as well. Make something else in Hello World. Mm-hmm. No, rather that debug should not be here, I think, to be there. Or even lower. Anyway. Let's use a vector. I'm always getting confused with this. I should put the new file last. Although I keep typing the wrong in. So we're here, and then I'll want to create, I guess, a graphics. Okay, I'm getting tired of typing that, I have to admit. I can do using namespace. Okay, I need an index. Let me make yeah. It's pretty. Oh, let's use that then as well. Still copying a lot of stuff. Dot is just dot now. Let's just have a. So we have some random struct, and then that is a node, and then we have a vector of. Sorry, a vector of such nodes. It's all a little bit different. A category. So let's make a container. Utils vector of a's using a index as index. Container. Yeah. And eventually we should be able to add that to the index container set, but we can't do that yet. Oh, I'm feeling that this should compile. What is this? Definitely the wrong directory. Yo. At executable. I guess something like that. And now we need the libraries. For this target. No. Cannot find source file. Where did I put it then? What? You're there. Use of undeclared identifier dot. That's for graph, right? No. I think that graph already includes string. Of course it does. So dot graph. Failed. What failed? Undefined reference. Oh. undefined reference to indexed container. That would, that has to be part of my library. Wait a minute. Now I have two libraries. Don't want that. Let's make this one an object object libraries. Yeah, I could do that, I guess. I've got how, but I want to turn this into an object library. Yeah, there's no memory left, so I'll have to look at another project. Do I have somewhere an other console with stuff in it? Yeah, here. Well, actually, no, maybe this already. I don't know. Yeah, library. Just put object behind it. And then use target sources. I suppose this also already works, but why not use target sources? And I have the habit to put underscore object lib after the name of such things, so maybe I should do that as well now. I definitely should, because lib, I have a lib already. Let me just call it dot object lib. And this is this is not necessary anymore. Or is it? Actually, it is. Yeah. That drags in the compiler defines from the AICXX object. And then we make an alias as well. I have to make an alias, should make an alias. Like that. There's just something with a double colon in it. Okay, I think that did it. I'm not convinced though now it knows what this is. kind of scared that I need this. I'm not even sure that it does anymore. Well, this C, I guess. Try it without first. But maybe you need it, so I'll comment it out for now. And then I need to make create my old library back here. So we have add library, which was called libcpp graph vis. Target sources, just target sources. Okay, we have just that now. The only source, well, it's a dot, it's a header, but you still have to add it like that. It's kind of stupid. And of course, you have target link libraries. Link libraries. Yep. You have to link this thing now with how did I call it? CPP graph dot. And that other thing that I of course forgot. That probably AI CXX object libs or something like that. I have no idea. Give list, you know, random attempt failed. Oh, pretty close. If all this is a list of all the object libraries that I created. So this is an object library that we just created, and this is the list of all the others that are part of my AICXX collection. You must repeat them every time. Well, you must repeat them every time until you reach a normal target. So in this case, an actual library, not an object library. But yeah, might as well call it private because it's not inherited. As in, if I link with this, you won't. This is not repeated. Obvious reasons, I would say, because now it's part of the library. But I could leave it away because, yeah, I mean, I can't even make it public. It's not repeated anyway. It's automatically private, as it were. All object libraries. Well, I probably did do a lot of things wrong, but I don't know. Let's see what fails. Target source is called with invalid arguments. Seriously? What are you going on about? I have no clue. We have no clue. Well, I don't know. Let's try it like this for the moment. Just the whole target source is not working. Hey, awesome, Brax. Looks to me the right way to do it. Oops. I absolutely don't see why this would not work. It's exactly the same, except then maybe the include is missing, but cannot be related to this. Oh, and then suddenly it worked. Seriously? So it was a private then? Still something fails here though. Undefined reference. Well, right, that's what I was working on. Indexed container, blah 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 blah. I'm linking with the wrong thing. No, I'm not. Index container set. Oh, I'll never define that thing. It was way easier. I didn't even need the library yet. And I draw one conclusion and then do all that work. Well, actually the problem is that it just never defined a default constructor. Make it the default constructor. But this is a template. It doesn't need a library. But okay, I guess I'm gonna add .cpp files later on, and then I'll need it anyway. Now, how the thing is going to be called? Well, let's do ls dot. Probably it's going to be called that. Let's add an alias for it. It's a bit long to type. What do I care? No, I don't really care. So I make an alias for that equal to object here source slash the same thing. Well, that worked. Let's see, my index container set is contains a graph now, which I want to add to another graph, I suppose, and then show it. So let me first make my graph. Great. Steal from Hello World again. Oh no, I'm doing it again. First the old file and then the new file. Let's create a digraph. And in the end we write it out. Okay, now I don't want to change this class anymore. So let's consider whatever is a namespace dot to be self-sufficient. That means that's why I moved it to a new namespace. That one does know nothing about what I'm writing now. So what we cannot do is add test1. It's not possible because test1 is a new class, and then I have to add a member function to G0, and then digraph suddenly knows about my new class, so that's not allowed. So I have to do the other way around, more like test1 add to G0, which is slightly annoying syntax, I have to say. What is a better syntax here? Brex, you have to text for check for the ARM. What is a good way to do this? Okay. What? Didn't work? Yeah, but that's nonsense. My PC also is Linux. Ubuntu also defines Linux. You want to figure out if it is an ARM. You're using the yield assembly. Yes, well, yield is ARM, so not Linux. Linux is just always defined. So yeah, I mean, okay, so might as well not test anything then. And well, that's not how it works. You have to figure out how to figure out that you are on an ARM. You are on ARM, right? I mean, if you are using the M1, then you are using ARM. It's kind of the O-stream problem here, right? You want things to be in the opposite order, but it's not possible because you're not allowed to add member functions. In this case, you're not allowed to add a member function to G0. It's kind of like try to figure out which one is the O-stream then. I guess G0 is the old one, so that should be the O-stream. Am I seeing that wrong? So we have this. We want to be calling object write to cout. But we must be calling something like that. So I guess object is the G0. Yeah. So if you compare it with the O-stream problem, then it is like we have to do this, but really I want to call a member function on G0. Or not? No? I have to call a member function on test1, yeah. Yeah, so this works, but I want it to be like that. Well, whatever. So this is now my friend operator. I think I have to do the following thing. On a graph, right? Graph. Where's my graph? Here's a digraph. So we could do it like this. Now I don't know what T is, but we just call add 2 on it. And then you get a problem that we can't access the data. I think it should call this function, pass this function onto data first, and then do this trick. So you have more like data add object. Yeah, I want to have a concept for that. I think like a concept has an object must have an add to. Let's make it even longer. Add to graph. And then I could say that T must be in, I'll call it this concept always, has add to graph. Although you can't use the ladder, of course, because the add to graph, yeah, no, I don't know, data, but that's not allowed. I don't want to use syntax here, that is not allowed. Data is private, so they just use graph underscore data and then not tell how we got that. Okay, we have to write these concepts. Still not sure about concepts, I'll have to admit. They are scary things. Yeah, where shall I add it? Either here or... I guess here. Something like that, and then the rest, which I have no idea. Can use this syntax, not a shorter syntax, because it's like very brute force. No, what is it? Damn it, also a big one. Yeah, it's just like that. We just have to use an is requires and then some argument and so on. So where was I? Nah, we just need to go to the graph. Completely lost graph. Oh, here it is. Yeah, T object dot add to graph. And now we need a graph. That's pretty annoying because we don't have a graph yet. That's my graph. No, wait, graph data. Aha. We have a graph data, so that would be some instance of declaration value, I guess. Oh, no idea. Crap. Get project sources, declaration value, I think. Declaration type, declaration value. Ah, okay. Graph data. So this is like an object of type graph data. And then we can pass that to an add to graph. And if that doesn't compile, then the concept fails. And otherwise we say, okay, that T is usable. Graph data was defined up here. So now we can do add test on. And then it won't compile because test one doesn't have add to graph. See how that looks like. It says indexed container set does not satisfy concept has add to graph. Because no member named add to graph in index container set. It's all there ish. Let's try to make it const. Okay, now it should compile. Yep. And now we have to implement that. So now we end up here. And now we have to add ourselves to graph data. Well, that would be using add graph because we are a graph. So that cannot be a const. So we have graph data dot add graph, and then we add subgraph. Okay. What is this? It says would be valid non-const L value reference to type dot graph data cannot bind. Yeah, this apparently this returns a temporary which you cannot pass to a non-const reference. I don't know. Let's ask. I mean, I know how to solve it normally. Like you would just create an object here. But I thought that and then pass it. But I don't want to actually create a graph data. Not actually create it. Let's try asking ChatGPT. You never know. Oh, kind of makes sense, I guess. Or it's definitely the power of declaration value then. You can just specify whatever type you want, even if you want a non-const reference. Yeah, pretty cool. Now let's see if that works. It produced a digraph with a subgraph in it. No labels. And now, did I not set a label at all? Did not set any label, did I? So what I could do is, let's say, use the constructor and pass a label. And I want to call the label eventually equal to the name of the type. So that would be like that. Yep. Now we have a subgraph of the label A index. I think we can even show this. So let's write this to graph dot dot. If that works, run dot png. Output graph dot png input graph dot dot and the big view graph dot png. Pretty empty. Why is that empty? Because I don't have any nodes. I added a graph, but I don't have any nodes. I suppose I need nodes to add a node myself. It's just a completely empty thing. Well, let's begin with adding a node. See how that looks like. Yeah, now we see something. It's not a way to show this thing if it doesn't even contain anything. Maybe I shouldn't show it. I mean, if it's empty. So it seems to work, but still have to add my. No, I have to add some vector to it, I think, as the node. So I can make here a container that contains elements. Does that work? Yep. So I want to add the container to my index container set. Yeah, so I have table nodes. I'm not thinking about, do I want to store table nodes? Yeah, why not? Yeah, the table nodes are just smart pointers. We can at least do that. So the index container set is going to exist of also a bunch of table nodes. Well, let's store them in a vector, why not? So this is the actual container set then, right? And then we must be able to add containers to it. Oops, void add container. I'm just going to allow adding a table node directly. As well. So this just does that push back. So the table nodes are super cheap things. You can just copy and move them and store them. And I'm not even using a const reference here. Well, on the other hand, maybe I should, because it's a reference counting thing. The table node is empty, but derived from a graph item, which is just a wrapper around a boost intrusive pointer. So the size is equal to a pointer, but every time I make a copy, it will increment the reference counter, and then upon destruction, decrement it again. Maybe passing by const reference is slightly more efficient, as in 2 clock cycles. So yeah, maybe I should do that. Or I can just pass an R reference as well. Probably both. Try both. I don't know, that would, I keep being confused about this, you know. If and place and push back, what's the difference when you just use the move constructor? Probably nothing, I hope. But yeah. Let's try this. Okay, now I can add a container as a table node. I have to add the table node as well to my subgraph, I think. So subgraph dot add. No, that's a good question. Add table. Add table node. So that increments the ref count anyway. We need to make a copy. Add it both to the subgraph and to our container here. Why actually? Why would I store it here? I can just add it to the subgraph and then we're done. Well, maybe, I don't know. Let's try this. So you can add table node, accept an R value, not really. All of these things are wrappers around. So then I would have to do it for all of them. Oh, sorry guys, I have to stop. There's a visitor.